One Piece 1075 came out, and it seems like Luffy and Zoro are about to team up with Lucci and Kaku in order to fight Esper and Esalt. Now, this is going to be really unique. This is going to be really cool because you have Zoro versus Kuma, as well as Zoro versus Mihawk, which is really, really interesting because it's almost like alluding to the past and hinting to the past fights as well as probable future fights. Obviously not with Kuma, but there's a lot of different ways to go about this. And obviously this is very resemblant of when Luffy just decided to trust Law for no reason, and how he often just has no sense of who to trust and who not to trust. He's not that type of character who's really going to look into the deeper details there. If Lucci says he's on his side, then that means he's on his side. Now, there's a lot of cool ways they can go about doing this, and a lot has been happening in the chapters. It's pretty hard to keep up with everything going on. There's so many moving parts, you could almost forget that Law and Blackbeard are fighting right now. I would not be surprised if we don't see what happens with that for another 50, 60 chapters. I feel like that's something they're just going to put way on the back burner, and I know that sounds crazy, but there is so many moving parts that it is so hard for them to actually keep up with what they want to be showing, what Oda wants to be showing, and the way they're going about every chapter. It's pretty hard to follow all the storylines, but like I almost forgot that one of the 5 elders is about to make a move for once, and we finally got a name of one of the elders too. So it's really hard to gauge how they're gonna go about doing this. Like, are we about to just get a chapter where the pair of them fight the other pair of all the other Seraphim? It's pretty hard to decide that, like, what way the narrative should go with so many moving parts. With everything going on, you can forget that Vegapunk is meeting with the 5 elders on the cover story. Isn't that crazy? Just think, a few years ago, we would be dying for something like that. For anything regarding Vegapunk. It's almost been normalized with how many months this arc has been going on. This arc has been perfect. I feel like it's such a change of pace so far, and we're finally getting a really big action piece. Like, I know there was fights prior to this chapter, but none of them were huge set pieces. Like, I know the whole Lucci rematch, but it didn't, in my opinion, it wasn't a proper fight. It just didn't meet the conditions. Like, it was like a chapter and a half. There was a short Zoro versus Kaku fight. I think that was Oda's way of saying, yes, they are stronger now. We don't need to show Lucci getting beat up for that long. It doesn't need to be an embarrassment of the previous fight. Because if it was just Luffy beating on Lucci for a long period of time, that would have been an embarrassment on their prior fight, that legendary battle that is seen across all of top anime fights of all time. But doing this by pairing the two of them, this could be really, really cool. There's so many ways they could go about doing this. They could have a Lucci. I could definitely see them having Lucci come back and not be a good guy, but just have a good moment. Maybe he'll make an appearance at the final war and support Luffy, because they're probably going to do a huge reveal where it's like going to be impossible to decide with the world government. And I can imagine like a lot of these middle ground characters that don't really have a morale like Lucci are going to maybe just side with the Straw Hats and their alliance, because there's just a lot of room for a lot of characters to have nice small moments in the final battle, when that is obviously going to be coming soon. So I can definitely see them running with this. I mean, Lucci has just been betrayed. It doesn't really seem like Lucci has like a super clear goal in mind, but that's also like the point of his character. He's just a ruthless mercenary. So I don't really know. I think Oda doing all this and then having Lucci betray Luffy at the end could also be okay. I don't think anyone would complain about that too much. But it just seems like, though, if there was one complaint I would have, it's just, we are getting a lot right now. Like, a lot of new content. The Weevil stuff, the Morgan stuff, the 5 Elder stuff, Law vs. Blackbeard. It almost makes you feel like Oda was like, let me take you off Wano, because you're getting a little annoyed with Wano, and let me put you on Egghead, and we're going to give you a whole bunch of cool lore, a whole bunch of cool content. There's Vegapunk that you want to meet, but we're also going to show you a bunch of stuff going on in the outside world, because we're at the point now where 1 or 2 chapters to show the outside world in between arcs is not enough. He needs to show more. He needs to start moving the story towards the final battle, and he's doing just that. And this chapter didn't feel like it moved too much, but it feels like it's enough to get the audience thinking, okay, this could be a really cool alliance, or this could just be a cool little temporary thing we got going on that isn't going to move any character. It's not going to change any character's motivation, but it's a cool little fight, and it'll be a cool tag team battle for them, and it's a moment that will be memorable and is really cool for long-standing fans of the series that haven't seen Lucci. I think there are some people that have been following One Piece for over a decade that probably are so thrilled that Lucci is doing something. So I'm really excited. I think it'll be really cool. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you like this? Do you think it's going to be a gimmick? Or do you think this could go in 1,000 different ways?